What is happening? Hope everyone is doing well. We have a Starbucks Grande Blonde Latte. I want to chat about automate, delegate, remove. Today, I want to chat about mindset. Today, I want to chat about becoming a lifelong learner. Today, we are talking about sales processes. So we're going to entitle these live sessions Coffee with Cody. What's cracking? Hope everyone's doing well this evening. Hope you're staying safe out there. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Coffee with Cody. I got no coffee today. Right now, I had coffee today, just not right now. It's a little bit late for that. 7:00 on Wednesday night. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to chat about cops and robbers, all that good stuff, all that stuff that's happening. Thanks for tuning in. Got a couple of people on the live. If you listen back on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are at in the world right now, I want to say I hope you're doing well. I hope things are going well in your life. And today, I want to start out with a story. This is something that happened to us about 1.5 years ago. And, I'm going to tie this all back into really the topic of resiliency, but we got broken into last year, and it was a pretty shitty experience. It was not fun. If you've ever got broken into, you know that it's not fun. There's a little bit of a sense of violation that happens. And that's really what happened last year to us here at Studio. They ended up taking about $10,000 worth of camera equipment. And it was a really interesting morning. We were actually just reminiscing on this the other night. Me and Neil were talking about kind of the play-by-play of what actually happened when we got broken into last year. And it was a really, really interesting time in life. It was a really interesting time because we were still really early on. I still consider it as a startup, and we were definitely a startup back then. And it really crushed us in that moment. But it was kind of funny at the same time. So I'll walk you through essentially what happened. And if you're with me, throw a 1 in the comments section. And if you've ever been broken into, throw 2 in the comments section, because you'll know how that. I'll know you know how that feels. It sucks. You feel violated. So I remember waking up that morning and Neil literally texting me and saying to me, he's like, he was texting me in real time. He's like, I think an animal got into the studio. Wait, no. And he kept on texting me. Oh, wait, no, an animal did get in the studio. Oh yeah, no, I think we got robbed. And he kept texting. So I was literally experiencing this in firsthand. It was literally he was telling me, he's like, yeah, we definitely got broken into. And when I got into the studio, there was literally stuff everywhere. It was we were ransacked, and it was all of our stuff was just all over the place. And then I walk upstairs and I'm literally thinking in my head, I'm like, please, for the love of God, just make sure that the camera equipment's not gone. And the camera equipment is gone. Really, really shitty feeling. Camera equipment's gone. We're telling the staff, don't worry about coming in. We got to solve this. The cops end up showing up. The cops show up, and literally they're going through. They're taking prints. We see the guys on camera and everything, and it's so interesting because what's going through my head the entire time was shit, this just sucks. It was just a shitty moment in time. I don't know if you've ever felt that way, where you're just oh my God, it feels like the world's absolutely crumbling down. And it's and I think a lot of people can relate to that. And the really interesting part of this story is we just kept going. We just kept pushing through, and me and Neil decided that we were going to hit up all the pawn shops. So we're let's check our luck. Let's really just try to find and see if somebody dropped off this equipment to try to sell it. So we make our way down different pawn shops in Peterborough, and I think it was. So we hit a bunch. We hit about 4 or 5, and then we got to the very last one, and we walk in. We're talking to the clerk, and what's happening is, as I'm talking to them, Neil is sitting there nudging me, being like, there's a guy right over there. And he's saying under his breath, and I look over, and there's my camera equipment sitting on the table. And I'm just flabbergasted. I don't know if you've ever been in that moment where you're sitting there and you're like, how the hell is this happening? Like, you're in the right place at the right time, and then your camera equipment's sitting there and you clearly know it's yours. And that's what's going through my head. And Neil's standing there, I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the person across. I'm looking at her, I'm like, that's my stuff right there. And like, she's like shaking her head. She's like, oh yeah, that's your. So we end up walking out of the place, and the guy is still standing there, and he is, obviously trying to sell our camera equipment that he broke into our office the night before. And he's standing there, and I'm on the phone, and I call the office, and I tell one of our people on our team, I'm like, yo, like, I know that the cops are still at the office. And like, if you live in Peterborough, you know that our office is located right downtown. So we're literally 2 blocks away from, they're trying to sell our camera equipment 2 blocks away from where our office is. Pretty friggin' bold. Pretty bold. So this is happening, and like, I'm just still like, I feel like I'm in an episode of Cops, and it's so interesting because we walk out, and then all of a sudden what happens is these cars just pull up, because I obviously call the cops, and the guy walks out and he looks at me, and I'm talking to the cop, and then he just throws his bag, starts running, and they chase after him, and they're like tackle him on the ground. And and I'm thinking the entire time, it's like the amount of resiliency it took. I could have chosen in that moment. We ended up getting all of our camera equipment back, and we ended up getting $10,000 worth of equipment back. And it's a great ending to the story. Really shitty 24 to 48 hours ends up being a great, ends up coming back with all of our camera gear. We get everything back. Please take care of it. They did a great job. They found the people, and everything's great. It's like, but I could have chosen in the moment to give up. And that's really what I want to talk about today, is resiliency. It's like, in moments where you feel like nothing is going your way, can you be resilient? And I look at the people that have really seen success in their business or have seen success in their life. And it's like, often in the moments where they feel like the wall is caving in on them, those are the moments where they rise up. Because like, believe me, I could have chosen in that moment to just be like, screw it. I'm not going to try to go to any, I'm not going to try to go to any pawn shops to see. I'm just going to like, let it be. But we chose to be resilient in the moment. And I think that there's a lesson that I learned in the story. And there's a lesson to be learned that whatever you're going through right now, whatever you're facing, I know 2020 was a really rough year. Whatever you're going through, the ability to shift your mindset towards resilience. It's like that next step that you take could be that step that gets you to where you want to go. And that's really, the resilient mind. And it's really interesting. I was going through, because as I was, I've been working on writing this book, and with Neil, and you look at successful entrepreneurs like Phil Knight. And if you've ever read the book Shoe Dog, I highly recommend. It's like, you look at how many times these people have failed and how resilient they've had to be in order to get to where they want to go. If you talk to any entrepreneur about the failures and the trials and the tribulations, you quickly understand that there's always going to be ups and downs. It's what you make with the ups and downs. It's like one of the best lessons I've learned. And if you've learned this lesson, you're ahead of me. But I learned this lesson only about a year ago, where both my business partners, Neil and Nora, told me, don't let the highs get too high and don't let the lows get too low. And I think that's so important for entrepreneurs to understand, because the highs can be high and the lows can be low. But if you just live a life full of, resiliency, but you also, don't let the highs get too high and the lows get too low, I think that you understand that failure is going to happen. And as I look at the entrepreneurs, as I chat with people, we had David Meltzer on our podcast a little while ago, and he chatted a lot about how he lost it all. He lost $100 million. He went bankrupt. $100 million company went bankrupt. It's like the most successful entrepreneurs, business owners, people, athletes, celebrities, they have a shit ton of resilience. And that's really the encouragement I want to get on here today, is like, you're not finished. Your story's not finished. Don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 15. It's like you're learning, you're growing. And as we head into 2021, I felt it was so important to tell this story, because I feel like a lot of us are in this moment where it's like we're waiting for something to happen in 2021. It's like we so desperately want change to happen in 2021. I was on a call yesterday with Brendan Burchard's team, and they were talking about how inspirational 2020 is going to be and 2021 is going to be, and how people are so desperate for something new. And I just really want you to, I really encourage you, and I've chatted about this on Coffee with Cody's in the past, is like, look at, do your research, read biographies. And when you look at the amount of resilience that it took to get Phil Knight to where he was, it took Steve Jobs to get to where he was, it took really any of the entrepreneur friends that you might have to get to where they were. It's like, you're just getting started. There is hope. Whatever you're facing right now, you're going to face more failure. And really, that's the encouragement I wanted to hop on here with you today, is like, no matter what happens in the rest of 2020, there's hope for 2021. And it's a choice that we make on a daily basis, and setbacks are going to happen, trials are going to happen, tribulations are going to happen. And really, my encouragement for you today on Coffee with Cody is to really provide you with some mindset knowledge, because I think it's oftentimes in our resiliency, when we face those tribulations, when we face those trials, if we're resilient and we take them head on, it's often what is at the other end of that trial is opportunity. And that's really all I wanted to say today, is like, we're going into 2021. There's a ton of opportunity out there. We are on a really, really cool forefront of what's happening in the business community. There's a ton that's shifting in the online space. There's a ton that's shifting in the business space. And it's really your opportunity to seize things, to try something new, to figure it out. Like Brendan Burchard says all the time, believe in you, figure things out. If you really want 2021 to look different, this is your opportunity to really seize opportunity. So I thank you for tuning in another episode of Coffee with Cody. I really, really do appreciate your attention. Cops and robbers. Cops and robbers. Have a great day, guys. We'll chat with you soon.